Welcome to the Recap Roman channel, and today I'm going to tell you the story of Shattered 2021. Before I start, subscribe and give me a like, it will help promote the channel. At the beginning of the movie we are shown Chris. Just recently he signed the divorce papers, but begins to doubt his decision and asks for a second chance. But Jamie has already made up her mind. After the conversation, Jamie tucks in her daughter who misses Chris very much. Chris decides to go to a convenience store where he notices a girl named Sky. She asks him to help her with her wine selection. When he leaves the store, he runs into Sky again. She tells him that her cab was canceled and Chris decides to give her a ride home. Arriving at the hotel, she says she had a fight with her friend who is waiting for her. He hears this and offers to drive to his place. She is amazed by his house and thinks it's all inheritance, but he says that he earned everything himself for the development of the app. Deep into the night, they put on a show. A new day comes. Sky is out while Chris is asleep. She enters her room and her friend asks where she disappeared to. She was really worried about her. Sky is silent and lies down on the bed. A couple days later, sits in the bar where Sky works. After her shift, they go for a walk around town. During the walk, Sky tells him how hard her life is. As he walks to his car, he notices that his car is being stolen. He tries to stop the man, but he hits him with a crowbar. He ends up in a wheelchair, since his nurse is missing. Chris decides to trust Sky and calls the security code. Sky goes back to her house and packs her things, while her friend tries to figure out what's going on. The next day they do the show again and Chris says he loves Sky, but she says it's a side effect of the medication. At this time, Roland asks Lisa to pay the rent, but no one answers him and he decides to open the door. He goes into the bathroom and sees Lisa dead there. After a while, the detective interrogates Roland as he thinks that her elimination was not accidental, and in fact they failed to find Sky in their database. Chris gets a call from his ex-wife and she wants to know how the divorce case is going. He shows her that he's traumatized. She offers her help, but he refuses. Chris decides to check Sky's bag and finds a picture of her with Liz. The next morning he can't find his phone, his tablets don't work, and the news shows Liz dead. He suggests that Sky contact the police, but she thinks it's a stupid idea since she's the one who took her out. She tells him that she's been following him for the past 2 months and gathering information to get closer to him. He orders her to clean up, but she just beats him up. Roland starts cleaning the apartment and finds the telescope Sky has been watching Chris through. Meanwhile, Sky has Chris tied up and orders him to give up all the passwords. He refuses her and because of this she uses the techniques. Roland at this time uses a telescope and sees Sky in it. She, on the other hand, has learned the passwords at this time and transfers the money into her account. She wants to sell his shares and fund her company. Taking advantage of the moment, Chris tries to fight back, but it doesn't work and Sky threatens his family if he doesn't listen to her. She cuts off the internet. A worker arrives and Chris hopes to be rescued, but he realizes it's the one who stole his car. A couple hours later, Roland waits for Sky to leave the house and he goes in. At this time, Sky gets a notification on her phone about a home invasion. Chris asks to call the police, but Roland demands something expensive from him in return. He tells him he can have that painting. He gladly takes it and admits that he doesn't have a phone since it causes brain cancer. At this time, Sky enters the house and Roland quietly leaves, but he doesn't know about the cameras. Sky tracks him down and Chris frees himself and drives away at this time and Roland dies in the meantime. Chris fails to control his car and falls onto the road, where a driver named Sebastian finds him. He helps him into the car and Chris asks him to call the police. After a minute, he stops at Chris' house and knocks him out. Sebastian says that people like Chris rob ordinary people, but Chris tells them that he doesn't look down on ordinary people and that Sebastian shouldn't play Robin Hood as they are just ordinary thugs. That night, Sky turns on the footage of their night scenes and afterwards she tells him that she will miss him. He thinks it's a lie, but he really did love her. Sky calls Sebastian because they need access to the safe deposit box and they are missing his fingerprint. Eventually they decide to borrow his finger. The next day his ex-wife and daughter arrive at the house. The girl runs to her room and the wife notices something amiss, but it was too late. Sky finds the girl and orders her daughter to be released and asks where Chris is. Sky says he's asleep and Jane says she'll call the police, and that's when Sebastian comes out. They end up locked in the room with Chris. Sky and Sebastian are getting their finger ready for a trip to the bank. On the way to the bank, Sebastian says that Sky is acting strange, but she tells him to ignore it. At the bank, The thieves are greeted by an employee and want to shake hands, but Sebastian pretends he broke his arm and pretends to be Chris. Afterwards, he puts a fake finger on it. At this time, the family manages to open the vent and the daughter climbs in. Just like that, his wife tells him that she took money out of his account in case he decides to leave it. Sebastian and Sky don't find the money in the safe deposit box and freak out, and quickly return home, as they also notice the girl running around in the street. They split up to look for the girl, but at that time Chris has already come out of hiding. A scuffle ensues and Sebastian wins. When Chris goes down, Sky asks to give away where his wife is, and suddenly Sky sends Sebastian to the other side of the world. Chris doesn't realize what's going on and attacks Sky. He takes the phone and runs to hide. Sky picks up the gun and continues her hunt for Chris. Chris uses the phone to distract her and she walks silently down the hallway. Chris finds the right moment and attacks her, but she quickly fights back. She is then attacked by Jamie, but she fights back as well. Meanwhile, their daughter takes a shot and eliminates Sky. And that's it. If you liked the video, then put a like. Subscribe to the channel because it helps to promote the video. With you as Recap Roman, and bye bye.